Hello, good evening, and welcome. This is Michael Swisher. I'm with the Department of Human Services in the Child and Family Services Division. Appreciate it. Glad you could get here. And I apologize for any confusion because I ended up with the wrong links mixed up. Long story. Don't need to go into it. But I am not going to start yet. I just wanted to jump in and let you know I'm here and ready to go ahead and start. I want to wait until 8:30, maybe 8:32. Sometimes folks wander in a little bit late. So I will tell you just quick who I am. My name is Michael Swisher. I live here in Arlington County. I got two kids. I got a 14-year-old and a 19-year-old. I work in Department of Human Services. I spent 15 years with Parks and Rec in the county. So have used incentive systems actually quite a bit in programs, in summer programs, after school programs. That was part of my job actually, was going in and helping with camp staff and program staff when they had kids who had some struggles or difficulties with behaviors, or staff who had difficulty managing those. And setting up a good incentive system can be really helpful and help some kids stay focused on what they need to be doing. So I'm a strong believer in it, and I want to share some of that with you. And I'll talk a little bit about what that looks like in a home setting as well, just in groups. I will say I'm with the Child and Family Services Division, and this is actually a series we've been putting together during this time. Typically, we offer workshops out in the community, and we had them scheduled in fact, I was going to be at Randolph tonight. However, things have changed, and so we're looking for ways to engage with families and provide supports and a little bit of help here and there where we can. So we're glad you're here and glad we're able to do this with you and for you. There's a team of us that's been putting together these workshops. We are increasing the numbers of workshops. We hope to do better at getting word out. So we're glad you heard about this, and especially glad you got to this one tonight because it wasn't easy. So I'm just going through a little bit of introduction. Our hope, and these are designed to be short and sweet. We like to keep the content to about 20 minutes just to make it short. And I run through the content all at once because then this is recorded and can be used as a webinar that people can see afterwards. I will be looking at any questions and answers or things you might be sharing in the chat. I've already put some information in the chat, so I welcome you to use those to throw stuff in there, throw any questions. And as you see, I also am asking if you can please share a little bit about yourself, number of children, age of your children, school you attend, just to give us a sense of who we're reaching and who's jumping in on these webinars with us. We do not use any of that information anywhere beyond just having a sense of what schools we're reaching people and the ages of kids. No other identifying information is there. If you're able to see the chat and get to the chat, I've also put the link of where we have our handouts. It's on our website, the Partnership for Children, Youth and Families, apcyf.org/parent-support, parent support with a hyphen in the middle. This is the, second or third in our series. We've done sessions on these, and if you look to that website, you'll also find some recordings of ones we did on setting up routines in home and building structure around the stuff and spaces in home, as well as expectations. Next week, we'll be back at the same time and place. We may change the time, we'll see. But to talk about consequences, that's what happens when everything we put in place doesn't work, because it won't always. So I also invite you to use the chat if you're able to share any sorts of ideas you might have for other topics. What is helpful? What's useful for you? What are you struggling with? What would you like some ideas around? So let's jump in and talk about incentive systems. Really, when I think about incentive systems, it's really about how to get my child to do something they don't want to do, like maybe sit down and stay focused on their studies, or maybe picking up after themselves, and stop doing something I don't want them to do, like you see in the picture, kids fighting with each other. So this is really a way to help them get to a place where they might change what they're doing. So there's 4 steps to this. first really starting with what is the behavior that you really want to hit on? What are the issues? What are things that they're doing that you'd like to change? Or what are the things they're not doing that you'd like to get them to do? Figure out what the prize, what is the hook, what is going to help them be like, oh, I want that. Therefore, I will do some things differently for myself. Third is design the system with the orthographic error system to track and change the behavior. I will get into how to do that, and then do it, kick it off and run it. So before we go in, though, I'd like to talk a little bit about incentives generally. I find that sometimes people don't like the idea. I want to share. It's an external motivation. A lot of times it helps to have something outside pushing us to do something. Some of us are really good and disciplined, can get up in the morning and do exercise. Some of us, we need to give ourselves a little prize. That same goes for kids, even more so, who can be a little bit more impulsive. So having something outside that's saying, here, if you do this, you keep at this, you can earn yourself a prize. So it's an external motivation with the idea that they will build a habit, they will create new behaviors that will come out of this. And just that, it is a bridge. This is not a permanent thing. You're not going to have to give them some prize for every single thing they do. No, this is really to get them on a new behavior. Once they've adopted that behavior, you pull back on that prize. Then you can focus on another behavior. We'll talk about that a little bit later. It is something that is set up in advance. It is not something just in the moment that you're upset about what a kid is doing and you want them to stop. It is something you've decided on beforehand and you've talked about it. They know what to expect. You know what to expect. They know what they're supposed to do and not do, and you know how to address it when it is or isn't happening. The flip side of this, incentives are not bribes. This is not, hey, you do this. If you do this, I'll give you that. It's a system that's put in place. And I like to use the example of when you take a kid to a supermarket and he or she's misbehaving, and the parent might say, if you are quiet and sit nice in the cart, I'll buy you chocolate on the way out. What that child has just learned is a great little lesson. If I go to the store and misbehave, I'll get chocolate on the way out. Wrong way to do that. So that's why we set this up ahead of time. It is not capricious. It's not arbitrary. It's not something we're just in a moment like, you know what? If you do this, I'll give you a prize. No, set this up as a system. It is not unnatural. I'm getting a paycheck for doing this tonight. We do things and we get something in return a lot of times. Altruism is a whole nother story, but we do things that we don't necessarily want to do, and we get something in return a lot of times. Finally, it's not going to ruin your kids. This, again, it's a bridge. It's a temporary thing. Kids do learn and understand that they're not going to go through their life expecting some little prize for everything they do. It's about learning a new behavior and then moving on. So again, those are the steps. We're going to go through them one by one. Again, identify the behaviors, determine the prize, track and change it, or track the behavior, and implement. So as I mentioned on the website, I've got different handouts. This is one that I like to use that helps you sort of think through what are the behaviors you want to focus on. You do not want to be doing this for every single behavior. So if you can go to the website and get this, it's great. If not, you can just use a plain piece of paper. It's fine. But really, you want to start with, I like to think about what are all the behaviors that bug us. If you can see on the screen, it's just what are those, write down every single behavior that your child is doing or not doing that you would like to address in some way. When they're bigger behaviors, like maybe acting out, temper tantrums, those sort of things, we only want to focus on one or two of those. If we're talking about some simple day-to-day behaviors, like maybe picking up their shoes when they come in the house, or putting their backpack away, or taking their dishes from the table to the sink after a meal, those you can do a couple of those. But if you're talking about really big behaviors, really focus on one. The other piece with that is write out, be very clear and descriptive, specific about what is the behavior that you do want. And I want to say, so let's talk about that a little bit. I found it interesting that parents, well, I want him to stop kicking his brother. Okay, yes, but what is the behavior you want? You want the child to keep his or her feet to themselves. Okay, you need to describe, if you're using a no, don't, or stop, like stop kicking his brother, You got to rewrite it. You got to state what you want. With my kids, when we talked about sitting at the table, it is you sit at the table, your knees are under the table, your hands are up on top. That's how we're describing this behavior, describing exactly what it is they want, as specific as possible. Sitting nice at the table is very general. What does that mean? You got to give them a very clear, what that means is your knees are under the table, your hands are up on top, your feet are still. So being very clear on what that specific behavior is. So taking that time with that piece of paper, picking a couple of behaviors and writing out specific, what is it I'm looking for, so you know it when you see it that they're doing it and they can earn whatever prize, check mark, sticker, whatever. So that's identifying the behavior. Next is, what do they want? This is the hook. So kids like attention. They really do. Have you ever noticed? Mommy, 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 daddy, 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 puppy, puppy, puppy. So they like our attention. They like us to be with them. So sometimes that can be the prize. Just giving them a little extra time, maybe a little more snuggle time, one extra book in the evening, something like that. Or a special time, maybe to go for a walk with just one of them. And by the way, walks outside, we can go outside. We're allowed. Not supposed to go to parks. We need to keep our distance from others. But getting outside is a really good thing. And going for a little walk around the neighborhood is a nice thing just with your child. And just one, he or she earned it. Go for a walk. Experiences, kind of like that walk thing. Experiences could be other things like maybe breakfast in bed. It doesn't always have to be, and don't think immediately in material objects. It can be things that you're doing, giving them an opportunity to play with some goop, create slime and play with slime. That's something they can earn. What are things that they like to do? And then make those the prize. Someone asked in a previous session I did around this, let them help you decide. Either you can observe by watching what they do, but also what would be a nice prize for that? I want to work with you on this behavior. What could be a good prize that you could earn if we change that behavior? That's the prize, the actual physical something. Sometimes it's nice to have a little toy or something special. Could be a special pen. Again, on our website, I have a list of ideas, depending on their age, of different prizes that you can use. And again, prizes can be writ large, anything that isn't necessarily a thing. And that's the lever. That's what we can use to get them to do the things we want to do. What you've got here is a picture of a man trying to lift a big stone. Sometimes that's what it feels like with our kids, trying to lift a big stone to get them to change a behavior. So we've identified the behavior. We've got the prize. How do we set this up? Let's look at an example. I use my name. That's me, Michael. Michael's reward chart. So I'm working towards a picnic in the park. In this case, we're not going to do a picnic in the park. It'll be right outside of our condo. There's a little grassy area. So we're going to have a little picnic if I earn it. Okay. So if you're on the phone, you may not be able to see. So I have a list of activities, the things that we're looking for. There are 6 of them. You've got the morning checklist. So that's a list of things that I'll be doing in the morning, like getting up, making my bed, brushing my hair, brushing my teeth, having breakfast, clearing the table. That's my morning checklist. And then there's afternoon checklist. Those are things that I'd be doing in the afternoon. Evening, what am I doing right, after dinner, helping to put away stuff, and then making sure I'm getting ready for bed, doing my reading, brushing teeth, and then in bed by, pick your time. I've added also for Michael, because he needs this, because he gets at the table. So we have sitting at the table for meals. We have closing and flushing the toilet. He has a problem with this. And finally, sharing toys with my brother. So those are the activities we want to be measuring and we want to be helping with. So what do we do then? Every day we've got on here, we're looking at 5 days, 6 different things. That's 30 spots, 30 points that Michael can earn. What's the goal here? So let's set a goal for Michael. In this case, we're going to say 23. Pretty easy. 23 out of 30 may not seem like much. Remember, to start this off, you want to go easy. Give them a chance. Give them a win. If they have a win and they're successful, they'll come back and do this again the next week. We'll talk more about that. So on a daily basis, and this is the key thing to this, for this to work, is every day you're reviewing with the child and sitting down and saying, okay, how do we do? In the example, we've got Michael did the morning checklist. He did the afternoon checklist, didn't do the evening, did well at the table, did close and flush the toilet, and did share toys with brother. Great. So we can have a conversation. How did today go? And go over each of these points and say, all right, that worked in the morning, that worked in the afternoon. What went wrong in the evening? How come you weren't able to get that done? What happened with sitting at the table? Thing that your child is then thinking about, all right, how can I do this better? So they get their stickers, they get their mark for the day, and we look at day 2 and come back. And then the end of day 2, for those that can see on the example, we got 5 out of the 6 stickers. Not bad. Day 3, day 4, and then day 5, for those that may be on the phone and can't see, Michael earned all of his stickers. Yay, way to go. That's something at the end of day 5. We want to be able to make sure we say, like, you did. Look at the phenomenal job you did today. That was awesome. Celebrate that just in and of itself. Way to go, dude. And then we can count up all those, and you can see that there were 23 points that Michael earned. The goal was 23 or 21. He got 23. Congratulations. Way to go. So what that says is, A, we get the picnic in the park. B, we can raise that goal next week. So Michael got 23. He needed 21. He got 23. Next week, what to say? 25? Okay. Another point I want to make on here is, if you'll notice, for those that can see, you can see that closing and flushing the toilet coming across every single day, Michael was successful. So every single day, Michael is now closing and flushing the toilet consistently. That's a win. Another thing to be saying to Michael, way to go, dude. Awesome. This also means we maybe don't need this next week. We can pull that one off and add something else. What's another target behavior? What's another goal we want to try and get to? So this is a living, breathing thing. We're shifting it, changing it every week, looking at how the child is doing. This is really how to set this up and make it go. It can take some work, but it can also be incredibly powerful if you're doing it the right way and sitting down with them every single day. And I will say, with regard to prizes, I know in this case, we're talking about working towards a picnic in the park. Sometimes for smaller kids in particular, the sticker itself can be the prize. They get to put a sticker next to the things they accomplished. Awesome. That's great. They're happy about it. As they get a little older, the sticker, not so much. So I want to talk a little bit more, thinking about, what I've got up here is sort of like a morning checklist. That's actually a really nice way if you've got kids who are really good at completing a morning checklist, a list of things. And I'm big on routines. Establish the routine. Here's what you're supposed to be doing at these times of the day. If you've got that system in place, great. If you got kids who are having trouble doing that, this can be a great way that either they earn for doing the whole list, or if you need to focus on a morning checklist, then give them those points for they're getting dressed, they're making their bed. Oh, they didn't eat breakfast. They probably did. They didn't fix their hair, brush their teeth. So that can be in and of itself a system to use these sort of incentives, and that sort of a chart. You'll see there's a table. So another type of chart is a little bit different. What I showed you before the example was a table where we had a number of behaviors and we're looking day to day. If you're trying to institute a new behavior, and I'll use the example of my son, actually, when he was small, learning to use the toilet was what we were trying to get to. That was our goal. That was our behavior. And we had sort of an open-ended chart. So he could earn, if he peed in the toilet 5 times, he could earn a Matchbox car. So one day he only pees 1 time. So he gets that sticker. The next day he doesn't do it at all. 2 days later, he pees 2 times. So now he's got 3 stickers. The next day he pees 2 more times. So out of 4 days, I guess, 4 days, he pees 5 times, he gets his Matchbox car. So then we start over again. So the next day, if he's peeing 3 times, boom, really awesome. Then the next day, he only pees 1 time. So he's earning, it's a very flexible system in that way. He's getting what he earns, and then he gets his Matchbox car. By the way, in this case, he also, if he poops in the toilet, that's a Matchbox car automatically, because that was a little harder for him to put all that together. One thing I want to say about this kind of system in particular, if they earn their points, if, for instance, he went 2 times in the toilet and then he wet himself, we don't take stickers away. He just doesn't earn the sticker for that time he wet himself. That's all. He earned these 2. He gets those 2. and then we come back the next time he does pee, then he gets that sticker, et cetera, et cetera. This works for other kinds of behaviors. When you see the behavior, you get the sticker. You don't see the behavior, you don't get the sticker, but never, ever take away what they earned. I hope that's clear. So thinking about also your kids and their tastes and what they like and don't like, there are any number of opportunity or options of ways that are themed, like, the whole Frozen, what's her name? I can't even remember the princess names. But here we got Minecraft as an example. But if you go online and you look up reward charts for kids, or on Pinterest, you can find any number of themes. You can find stuff your kids are into, dinosaurs or basketball, doesn't matter, whatever. You can find something. There'll be one you can make. Or you can use a plain blank one like I had for the picnic one. So that really wraps up what I have to offer in terms of these ideas. I do have online, actually I'll back up to the example I was going through. You'll find online on the website also a page that has this example and the steps that I went through, so that you can go back and do this on your own. We're really trying to get you in a place where you can do this. I'm going to close out with just letting you know there's my email if you would like to contact me, mswish@arlingtonva.us, and the website where you can find the recording of this once we finish it, as well as those tools. There's 3 tools on there: how to identify the behaviors, how to actually put the system together, and then prize ideas at www.apcyf.org/parent-support. That's where we have this. I'm going to go and see if there's any questions, and see, I want to thank everyone that's here and see if there's anything in the chat. I don't see any questions here. If there's any questions or thoughts that people have, I would welcome those. I also welcome people to throw out a number 1 to 5 if you find this was at all helpful. We appreciate letting us know if this was helpful. Give us a 5. If it was awful and you really wasted 20 minutes of your time, I'm sorry. Let us know. Give us a 1. That's okay. And we also welcome all sorts of other ideas. If there are topics you'd love to hear about, let us know. That chat is a great place to let me know what other things would be helpful for you. That's why we're here. We're here for you. So thank you. I don't see questions, but I'll stay here and give it a moment or two. I appreciate everyone being here and joining me, and I'm glad folks could find me. I know some folks didn't because we got mixed up on our links, but appreciate it. I see a question coming in. Let me check. How can I control something? Hang on, I see a question around screen time. How can I control my kids with screen time? So let me touch on that. That actually is, and I should have expected this question. To me, screen time can be the prize. They want screen time because they do. Then make that the prize. And the way you set that up is you give them what are some things they need to be doing. And if you think about, and we actually did this with my son. So we had the morning checklist was worth 15 minutes of screen time. Depending on the age of your child, you can say 10, 15, maybe half an hour. At this point with his age, I'd say probably half an hour. So you had a morning checklist, things he had to take care of, afternoon checklist, and then evening checklist. In this case, with the age of my son at 14, he had to take care of all of them to earn the 30 minutes or whatever he's getting. If he doesn't do all of them, he doesn't get 30 minutes. For a younger child, you might say you earn these and then they could earn proportionally. So if it's a 10 minutes that they earn for this and they only did 3 of the things out of 5, then they get 6 minutes. But use your screen time as a prize because they want that. That's, go back to that lever thing. That's a huge one for us. That's a big tool, great tool for us. Getting that started will be a challenge. I get that. And I want to acknowledge that. Say, hey, you guys like being on a screen. I want to do this a little bit differently. I want you to earn your screen time. Because otherwise you end up in this push-pull. The beautiful thing about an incentive, it's a push, it's a positive push, it's something they're working towards, it's building their responsibility, and you can step back from it some. So kids, do you want screen time? And especially right now, I want to be very clear. I was talking about 30-minute blocks of time. Right now, the times we're living in, What's a reasonable amount of time for kids to be on a screen? 3 and 4 hours is not. It sounds awful, and I hate saying it, but where we are right now, that can be okay. So giving them opportunity, they got to earn it. Okay, screen time's a privilege. It is not a right. So I hope that's helpful. But I do really, make them earn their screen time. I think that's a great. I think it's great. Yeah, I was looking to see if there's other questions. Sorry. I don't know if that helps. And I'll say, if you want to send me an email, my email is in that chat. If you want to have more questions about how to do that with the screen time, please let me know. Okay. That's a great question, though. See something else popping up question wise. Let me check and see what that is. Oh, good. I don't like them to do it too quick. Okay. So I got a question saying, when I ask my kids to do their homework, they finish it very quickly. That's good news, because I want to play video game. Good. You don't want them to do too quickly. And I run into this too, that if they do it too quickly, then they're not doing it well enough. So you can also set a time. Like, are they supposed to be reading? And you need to be sitting at doing your work. If you finish quickly, that's awesome. Congratulations. But I think also be a little bit flexible. If they're doing it well, that's a good thing. If they're doing it and it's really kind of uh, not a very good job, if they're like making mistakes, or if they're really sloppy, let's say, okay, you're getting it done. You need to get it done. You need to get it done well. So you need to not have mistakes, and you've got to be able to go in and check and say, yeah, this doesn't look good, honey. I need you to try it again. They're not going to like it. They're going to complain. It's okay if they complain. Let them complain. You don't need to deal with it. Do they want to earn their screen time? They want to earn their video game? Yes. Then you just say, got to do it better. Thanks. I'll let you go. If you need me to help you, I can, but you don't need to get any fights about it, because that's the beauty also of this incentive system. They're earning it. We're not controlling it. They are. And I want to be clear. I probably should have said that a little more clearly. The idea of the incentive system is they earn it or they don't. You're not giving it or not giving it. It's really comes down to them earning it. Did you do your stuff? You did great. Then you get your screen time or you get your prize. Did you not do it? You didn't do it all. So you don't get to earn it. Sorry. But it's all on them. It's their decisions, their choices, their actions. We can step back from it. But mommy, you took away my screen time. No, honey, you didn't earn it. That's what happened. Tomorrow you can try again. Or depending on how you're doing, if you're doing like the afternoon, you can try it again in the afternoon. Okay. I hope that helps. I am grateful for you being here and for bringing in these questions and thoughts. And we are going to be back again. And actually, if you're able to, I mean, the people who are here are able to say, yes, this is a good time. If you think there might be a better time, I welcome that as well. Thanks so very much. Let's see if there's another question here. So hard to grant allow screen time or not when access screens is omnipresent. So I'm going to read that again. It's really hard to allow or not allow screen time when the homework is where, I mean, the screens is where the homework is. And it is true. There's a swipe, kid can be on an iPad and looking at something, and then parent stops in and like, oh yeah, moving back over. That actually moves into a different place for me, is really thinking about it. And it is a challenge, and it's something we're living. Got that in my own home. The way to work around that is not necessarily through incentives, but actually being able to have them where you can see them. Not always easy, especially if you're trying to work from home or do other things. But, in my case, we've got a child who we're asking, you need to be in the living room with me or in the dining room where your mom can see you. So I'm working from home. I'm doing it in the living room. Right now I'm in the bedroom. But so I need to be able to know that when he's on that device, that iPad that schools gave him, that I'm relatively sure that he's doing it. So it's really bad. It's really hard, but that's the supervision we need to be providing. I see a comment here. At this time, screen control is out the window. I don't want to say out the window, but we have lost a great deal of control. I also want to say It's okay. We're going to be all right. And acknowledge that with your kids. Say, hey, you are getting a lot more screen time than I would ever allow under normal circumstances. These are not normal circumstances. So when we get back to normal, we're going to go back to more normal screen use. I recognize right now we're doing a lot, and that's okay. So yeah, you can only bargain so much. I see that. Someone else put a question here. Sometimes when I ask my kids to do something, they pretend like they're not listening. They start to talk with each other and bothers me. You can build an incentive into that. That is frustrating as all get out. I understand it. A couple things. I want to talk about just the kids and their behaviors. That is something they're doing. They're messing with you. They're trying, and it bothers you, which means they are succeeding. A couple things is if you can say like, okay, I'm giving you the instruction. This is what I want you to do, and then walk away. If you show that you're upset, then they're getting some satisfaction out of it. And you can even say, you know what, that's really unpleasant. It's not nice. I don't like how you're treating me. And say it like that, and then walk away. I gave you the instructions. Here's what I expect you to do. But you can also make that into an incentive that when I speak, that you need to be listening and pay attention and respond to me. That's a reasonable thing to put on one of those checklists. And it could be, I'd actually, let me pull back that slide because I think that's a kind of thing I might consider for this kind of a chart. I hope you can see this. That'd be the kind of thing where they earn for, okay, you gave an instruction and they actually paid attention to you. Give them a sticker. Good. You got that. Thank you. And acknowledge it. Hey, I noticed when I spoke, you guys were listening and not doing that other thing that I don't like. Thank you. That's good. Sticker. Good. And this can be something that you mentioned a couple of kids. So this can be a group thing, by the way. You can do incentives that are individual per child. You can also do that for the kids. And then maybe they earn a special dessert. Not sure. I'm trying to think, but you can come up with a good idea. But then, so in the next 3 days, if we can get 15 stickers of you guys listening to me when I talk, then we'll get special dessert. Okay, I'm going to make something special for y'all. So that's one way to actually address that, is to put an incentive on it. Any other questions? These are really good questions. I appreciate it. I see you can only bargain so much, says Sally about screen time. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and thank you all for coming. We'll knock this off unless I don't see anything else coming in. So I appreciate your time. Grateful that you're here. And I'm hopeful this is helpful. You do have my email. I'll bring that back up. I don't know if it's still there. I welcome emails and questions. We're here and we're trying to help out. All of us are trying to get through this together. So thanks again. Have a great night. Good luck. Look for us next week. We'll have, there's another question. Let me see. What are we getting here? Oh, these are thank yous. You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate doing it. Glad to have you here. Okay. I'm going to say thank you and good night, and go have a rest, get re-energized for tomorrow, and figure out how to put this together. When you go to bring in an incentive system like this, have the conversation with your kids. We want to try something new. I saw this thing with this goofy guy on a webinar last night. He gave me these ideas. We're going to try this out. Okay. Make it kind of exciting, make it kind of special, and you guys can earn stuff with it. You can earn screen time. So you got to sell it. Okay. All right. Thanks again. Have a great night. And we'll look for you next week. I'll send out information. Now I have your emails so I can get you in for another one next week. Thanks so much. Good night.